Thank you so much, Tyler, and welcome to NFT Stars. So tell us more about
Thank
you. Actually, you've started out with the painting, oil painting, and then to this day, all your portraits are created as oil and canvas paintings. So the question is, why have you decided to do an digital art like NFT? And yeah, what opportunities do you see in this space?
Yeah, I mean, so I think that digital art kind of has a lot of different advantages compared to more traditional art. And what I really think is cool about digital art is you can really iterate really fast on an idea. And then kind of what I'm doing is taking portraits I've done and then kind of morphing them together, and kind of taking something old and making it anew, with digital effects, and I make the music too that goes to it. So it's kind of putting together all these things that I do.
And what opportunities do you see in this space for artists like yourself in, for example, specific area?
Yeah, so well, I think that it's a really cool um, opportunity for people to expand their knowledge, and I mean, we could just be honest, everything's going digital. So it's
Hmm.
it's just kind
Exactly.
of the natural evolution. And so it's not something that even with traditional art we don't need to kind of fear it, and I'm more about embracing it and try to utilize it. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And when did you create your first portrait?
I mean,
Classic
who knows
question.
time. Yeah, who knows what time is anymore. But I probably, or I went to college for um fine arts, but I didn't really, even though I did that, I didn't really start seriously painting until probably like 6 years ago. And then this whole like abstract portraiture that I'm doing now, probably like 4 years ago, I kind of hit upon it, and it's just kind of gone off in that direction since then.
So you basically arrived at your signature style 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what would you say to a person that doesn't see any difference between a portrait that you created, for example, 3 years ago, and the one that you have about to actually put up for auction on NFT Stars?
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of what we are saying before, I mean, it is melding these different things, um, and giving it a kind of new context, new life on the subjects, when they were originally just single, flat portraits, and now with the digital stuff, kind of made a whole new background, obviously animated it, morphed them together. Like I said, I did the music as well.
Okay, so
So
you're
it's kind of like a lot of things
multifaceted.
that
Yeah.
I do separately. I do video editing, and I obviously make music and do art. So it is a lot of things that like I do separately, and I wanted to try and create them together. And then this is kind of like I've finally been able to combine everything into something that I really love.
It actually shows that there's no like till now there's basically no limits in terms of fine arts and mixing and as you said like digital art with physical art, because now it's even like adding music, a piece of music to that. So it's been quite fascinating. And you've also said through your
Yeah.
art that you reconnect with your ancestral culture, but none of your portraits, for example, or works of art contain any cultural elements. They're quite kind of like universal. So, would you please explain what you meant by that?
Yeah, so I'm actually part Hawaiian,
Hmm.
my mom. uh, so, I mean, there's actually several elements to, Hawaiian culture, Polynesian culture, just in general. So, first off, it's the portraits are mainly like tiki figures that you find all over Polynesian cultures, which are supposed to be the first man, or their gods. But they're all really similar in format.
Mhm.
But it's just kind of the little different elements that give you the iconography of who it's supposed to be. So that's really what I kind of took from that, is that we're, even though these portraits are of people, but then I kind of screw them up and I combine them with other people in a single portrait. It's kind of, we're all kind of the same. So that's like one thing. Um, Also, if you've seen Hawaiian statues, they have like a smile, but it's kind of weird. But yeah, I always saw it as kind of like it was more like a scream. But so I guess, a lot of my figures have like a smile or a scream, how you want to interpret it. And then even though it's not really in this one, but my landscapes that I do, often I have like imposing geometric figures against the landscapes, and it's supposed to be about like industry, which literally happened in Hawaii. Industry took over the islands, with the colonial rule and everything like that. So that's those are a lot of elements that I put in. Obviously, yeah, like you're saying, I'm not like beating over the head that like, oh, it's like part of Hawaiian culture, but I think it all does link back to that.
And evolves from it, actually. Let's dive into the auction itself. So tell us about the ethereal. What message are you trying to convey through this piece of art? And also, what are you trying to show as the state of a person?
Yeah, so I mean, just the word ethereal is like it's too precious or too fragile for this world, or too perfect. So these portraits, even though I don't think anybody would say they're perfect or anything, but I think they are really fragile, and really precious. Um, and I combining them together, I think it's kind of an evolution of like what I was saying, where to me, I think it's that we're all similar, with the morphine, that we're all kind of the same at the end of the day. Obviously, you could kind of interpret that the complete opposite way, that we share in like a pain or suffering with the expressions. So, but that's really what I want to say with it, is that we share similarities, whether it's through pain or humanity or anything like that.
That's very true. So if you look at the artwork in the context of a culture and how different cultures cope with pain or horror, um, ethereal more of a Western or Eastern culture? I mean, perspective. If you
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would just say proximity wise, since I'm in
the
California.
Western, yeah,
Yeah,
probably,
I
yeah,
guess it's Western, but
the
to
laid
me,
back.
I yeah, I would probably more link it back with like, you could kind of see it in two different ways, which are, funny enough, kind of polar opposites of each other. You could see it in a nihilistic, existential way about humanity and suffering, all that, or like I was saying, like an interconnection between people. I would say, even though people associate me with, you know, dark and whatever oppressive atmospheres and stuff like that, but I would say I think of it more as an optimistic view.
Course. And what do you think there is actually a niche for traditional art within the NFT space, which is quite modern and I mean evolving still?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, kind of like what I was saying before, it's obviously just the evolution of art, and you just can't. I mean, I know there's people who don't want that to happen, but I would rather embrace it. So definitely, I think it would be really cool to have, the traditional oil painting, which to me, there's a real textural quality. I mean, literally, and I just you could see the textures
Mhm.
um, on paint, but then combining that with the digital space, and manipulating it and giving it a different view that you couldn't do with paint is just like, I think, kind of the ultimate progression of art.
And what are your next goals after the NFT auction on an NFT Stars platform?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of prompted me that I'm really excited about
Do more.
this concept, and trying to better my skills and just create more ideas on this. So I definitely want to utilize the platform of NFTs, of NFT stars, and make more stuff like this, because I don't, yeah, I just don't see a lot of people doing that. They're either, just flat traditional things, or they're super animated stuff. But I don't see people kind of doing a melding of these. And then plus, like I said, I do the music too. And so I, just putting everything together, it's kind of like a perfect platform, honestly.
Oh, that's amazing. And last question: what is your experience so far with NFT Stars platform and the team feedback?
Yeah, I mean, it's been super cool. You guys reached out to me and helped me through it from start to finish. So it was really great, and I really looking forward to it, doing more, and yeah,
Perfect. Thank you so much, and good luck with the auction. We'll definitely
thank you.
looking forward to more art from you, Taylor.